to start off with, I saw you call Olivia Collie in an interview. Is this the nickname?
This is my nickname that I've had since I was 5, but it's only for people I love. Yes. I don't want to widely advertise the fact, because I quite like it when people...
Yeah, and that's why I was at...
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Because, you know, when people phone up, I know if it's work, if it's people I like, or if it's my mum.
Excellent.
Well, I can tell if my mum's ringing. I do have her number in my phone.
And I'm guessing you two got on well.
Yes. I
Yes.
mean, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
Yes, we did. We had too much fun.
Did either of you kind of watch the back catalogue? So did you sit and watch The Crown? Did you watch Top Boy beforehand? Is that, when you're working with someone new, is that something you do?
I do that.
I did watch some Top Boy. Yeah. Did I tell you that?
No, you did not. I can't imagine you sitting down and watching Top Boy. That's funny. But I didn't really watch The Crown because I don't want to invest into a series. I can't watch the full thing. But I watched her films, you know, The Father, The Favourite, and The Lost Daughter, which I had seen.
Thanks.
That was just before the film, which was great. You know, so I wanted to know what I was getting myself into. And obviously watched a lot of her interviews as well, see the kind of person... You know, yeah, basically.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, like, if you're someone that likes to rehearse or you're someone that doesn't like to rehearse. Like, you know.
Which it all worked out. I mean, the film is amazing. I like the fact that the age difference, it isn't a story about age difference at all. It's just about two completely different people connecting together.
Yeah.
So was that the appeal for you guys?
I mean, there was many things. Well, the first thing for me was that Sam Mendes Zoomed me and said, "I'm writing a film, and I'd like you to be in it." And I went, "Yes, please," and didn't actually ask what it was. I was just excited. And then the part for me, I was excited to play, and the sort of the love story part of it, I hadn't really considered until. Well, then Michael and I met, and for a long time I was going, no one's going to believe that this beautiful creature would fall in love with a middle-aged woman who's older than his actual mummy. But it didn't matter. Exactly as you say, it's people connecting, and Sam wrote it so beautifully that that does make sense.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, for me, in terms of an appeal, it was, you know, mostly the people involved as well as the story, and being able to see a young black man with so much hope and promise, and someone helping him kind of steer himself in the right direction. You know, I feel like a lot of the time we don't really have a lot of good role models growing up, especially in, you know, now. So to have someone like, well, Hilary for Stephen, who, you know, wants him to do well and is steering him in the right direction. She doesn't tell him to do anything bad or anything like that, you know. Sometimes that's all we need, especially when we know what we want to achieve and what we want to do, you know. And I felt like that story was really important, to have someone like that, you know. And I learned today that, you know, at the end of the day, these characters are very lonely. They don't really have friends or anyone that they really connect with. So that's why they're drawn together so much more, if that makes sense. If they had friends or, you know, or stuff like that, they might not have been so brought together so much, where they're so lonely. It allows them to find connection, and then it becomes a deeper connection because they kind of only have each other when you really think about it, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was great to explore that relationship, and it was fun to be involved in a story like that.
And to bond over pigeons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How were the pigeons?
I loved the pigeons. I love all animals, all things.
Yes. Me, not so much.
But that's changed though, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's just not fair because, basically, in this process is the first time I actually touched animals, you know? So getting used to the pigeon is the first time I touched any animal willingly, and then after that I stroked my first dog.
But we laughed though, but it was a genuine fear, wasn't it?
It was,
and to conquer that is amazing.
Yeah, it
to
was.
actually end up.
Can you stop looking at me like that?
A genuine fear, but to conquer that.
I mean, I've got a friend who's absolutely terrified of animals as well, so I've heard of it before, and it is a massive breakthrough.
Yeah, I mean, literally, and I remember saying to Sam, like, literally, if you get me to work, because we was thinking of loads of ways, so basically, obviously,
CGI pigeon,
everything. I remember when I first got the role, I was like, I'm not going to tell him about it until my contract is signed. So I signed my contract, and I was like,
classic actor trick. I can ride a horse.
So then I signed my contract, and I was like, yo, Sam, by the way, I'm scared of pigeons. We're going to have to get an animatronic one, because I was working with Bill, and he was like, they can get you an animatronic pigeon. And then Sam was just like, we're not doing that. You're going to work with a pigeon. So it was just a long process, and it took me 2 weeks to even touch it. You know what I mean? Like, properly.
But then you loved her.
Yeah, and then I did love Coco. I miss Coco, actually. I really do. So yeah, man, it was great to be able to get over a fear like that. You know, it was like a breakthrough moment, and I never felt like I could be comfortable around like dogs and stuff like that. So yeah, it was great. And for me, those are the you know, the most amazing things about filmmaking. You know, it's like, if I want to learn something, just please write me a character where I can play the piano or something so I can learn the piano. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I would have never have gone to work with a pigeon hadn't it been for this film.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just a great experience. Yeah.
And we've gone on a massive pigeon tangent.
Yeah, sorry, I keep picturing moments with it.
Sorry, I did want to ask, because I know you said that you haven't played a character like this before, and obviously, especially in the 80s, mental health issues, I mean, still today, but slightly better, just talking about it.
Yeah.
So was that the part of the character that you were interested in exploring?
Yeah, well, the thing that hasn't been widely talked about, we had a chat this morning with Sam, and he said, guys, you can be honest, you can say, but the Hilary's based on his mum. So he grew up with a woman who was really battling and with schizophrenia and moments of psychotic episodes, and he as a little boy watched it all. And so it's a very personal experience. I wanted to do it because the part was interesting, to play something difficult I find interesting, but also because Sam was there every step of the way to hold our hands, both of us. And so I could say, tell me, so lithium, I could do the research, but I could just ask him,
That's easier.
Yeah. And he said there were moments when she was absolutely numb, and then would stop taking it, have incredible, heroic, he calls his mum heroic. She managed to go through all of this and still bring up, not just, quite well, but Sam Mendes. He's fucking amazing. So she's clearly done something, He's come out of it with incredible strength and empathy. And he thinks of his mum as heroic, but so I had him
and
there.
the knowledge he has is good. It's accessible.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't really get that. You know what I mean? You kind of have to. He did have like loads of research as well about it if you wanted to. But it's the fact that he's there and in real time. Wait, no, I can't do that. Even in terms of breathing and stuff like that, he went and sat down with paramedics. You get what I'm trying to say? Sam is just. Yeah. Like an incredible director, and also he just loves to learn as well. So I feel like in this process, like learning about all of these things, even the pigeon stuff again, like to mend a pigeon, he went and watched videos and all of these things to make sure it's accurate, And for us,
your font
you
of
trust,
knowledge.
you just trust that, and you can, lean into that trust more, and then you're just able to do a performance that's just authentic and real, which for me is the most exciting bit.
I love the film. I
Thanks.
do love Sam Mendes as well, but I do love the film, and I'm going to be at the premiere tonight, so please come and have a quick chat with me on the
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Lovely
So
to
nice
see
to see you.
Yes, we always need another rom-com. Are we all good? Right, okay, lovely. So I'll start with you, Toby. Has cinema always been a magical place for you?
Oh, has it always been? No, oh God. Insofar as I love going to the cinema, yes, it has. I mean, there are different kinds of films and different kinds of cinema, and I suppose I miss some of the old, what used to be called flea pit cinemas that had a repertory system where you'd be able to catch up with old films. That world has sort of gone, and that was the magic of the cinema that I first fell in love with as a teenager. But yeah, I mean, still now there's no greater pleasure than to go, just catch a film, disappear into it, and be part of a crowd, but be completely anonymous, and you all sharing this experience. Yes. And
for you?
Well, it's certainly. I remember the impact it had when I was young, very young, 60s, and I lived in a small town that didn't have a cinema, so it meant a pilgrimage. It meant, your parents had to be able to give you whatever, or you have your pocket money, a bus. So you're making a pilgrimage for the experience, which actually, ramps it up because you've got the build up. And then I can't remember. I mean, I think my parents had taken me to see things like, I think, the My Fair Lady and Wizard of Oz. And whether I liked the film or not, it was being surrounded by sound with this group of other people with this, blast of light and colour. And so everything being very, very heightened. And if something was scary, it was very scary. And if something was funny, it was writ large. And so I can't quite remember which was the first one, but among them was was one of the Bonds. It was Her Majesty's Secret Service, and reeling from it. And also it was a talking point, because now, you know, if you're streaming various things, you might be talking at the same time that someone else is watching it. But at that time, you didn't get to talk about it unless you made that journey and made the effort and paid the money. And you'd go to school the next day, and there would be those who'd seen it and those who hadn't, and you wanted to be part of that. So it contained all that as well.
I definitely remember that. Being going to see it the second week, you like miss out on all the chat the first week. Yeah. And Toby, learning the projection, how kind of
difficult?
Well, I was about to say, how easy is it for you now to pop into a cinema and take over?
Please don't ask me to do that. I was constantly wanting to go back to practice over and over and over again, because I'm a bit maladroit with things where there's a lot of minute motor skills required. And the guy who was teaching me was a brilliant teacher, but nonetheless, it's just a strange sequence, a mysterious sequence, and so I'm not sure that I could do it. But I'm told that there are so few places anyway that one would need to. So, but I love that. I love that the hands-on, the idea of handling film is so. It's like handling vinyl records. You know, it's a similar pleasure. You know.
And what was it like working with Olivia again?
Well, wonderful to work with her again. I mean, it was second time round with Olivia and with Sam, and that initially was the main appeal, and then, you know, it just got better and better, you know, as the rest of the cast came in, and Roger Deakins. I mean, it's the dream team, and there's nothing like it, actually. I think it's partly if you're good friends with someone, it's a joy just for the obvious reasons. But also there's a shorthand, particularly if you've got difficult stuff you have to do, and which requires trust, you know. And I think if it's, as it very often is, a stranger you're working with, you've got some ground to cover before you have a rapport. And if it's someone you know, you know, it's just, you've covered some of that ground. And she's an endless joy to work with. I mean, ask anyone. Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
And finally, just for both of you, what was the cinema set like? Because it just looks incredible. I mean, the instinct is to start fundraising to build it, you know? It's so great.
Well, I wonder whether they're going to keep it. I mean, because it felt very solid, didn't it?
It did. Well, we couldn't believe it was a build. You know, well, I couldn't. I mean, walking into this thing, it just... Because even the kind of, you know, the deterioration of some of it was so convincing. And this domed skylight, which I didn't realise was artificial. That was Roger Deakins' work. We all thought it was the sky. You just thought, you know, for goodness sake, keep it. It did a lot of the work for you, actually, to walk into an environment like that.
Curious little things like watching them sweep up the popcorn. I thought that little moment of seeing them sweep up spilt popcorn, to me, that really evokes, you know, literally like the concrete experience of being in a cinema and people's spillages, and that someone's got to deal with that, but the stain will be there and all of that. I thought that was really beautiful, and like you're saying, the sort of the human aspect of the design, you know.
Yes, and reflecting on how digital we've all become, you know. Buttons, you press of a button and easy access, and everything being so sort of virtual.
Yeah, you sometimes don't see people at the cinema anymore. You know, you can pick up your ticket and then... Oh, no worries, that's great. Thank you very much. I will see you both at the premiere tonight, so I'll have more questions for you.
All right.
I absolutely love them. And I love...
Yeah.
I would love that. Right.
So I think we're still...
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're just setting up? Okay.
No worries. I'm a big fan of yours. I love Discovery of Witches and Motherland.
Cool.
Yeah, so when you were in this, I was like, yay!
That's exciting.
Was Discovery of Witches fun to do?
Very. It was. I mean, the thing is, the pandemic happened sort of right
Yeah.
So it, you know, and we were kind of kept apart from each other. It was very odd. And when we saw each other again, we couldn't hug, and
Yeah.
you know.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I think we're all.
Okay,
go?
sorry. We were going to talk about witches for a while now, so.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. It was perfect escapism.
Yeah.
I thought
It
I
was
really loved
so
it.
fun to do.
Really
I
good
love
characters.
magic stuff and all that.
Me too.
You know. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I grew up on Charmed.
Yes, same. What, girl?
Oh yeah.
Love Charmed.
I love Charmed.
Loved it.
Right. Let's talk about Empire of Light.
Yes.
That is an amazing sign.
Empire of
It is.
Light.
It is an amazing sign.
It's
I
good,
love
isn't it?
It is. Can I start off with a kind of very straightforward question?
Yes. Absolutely.
Who do you play?
Right. So I play the mum of. So Micheal Ward plays a young man who, 1981, seaside town, in the UK, and he had applied to go to architectural college. He didn't get in. And he applies for a job at the local cinema and works there, right, for the summer. And I'm his mum, Delia, and I'm a nurse. And we live in a block of flats. There'll probably be quite a few of your viewers, people who see this interview, who know Margate. I think the film isn't like officially set in Margate, as it were. Do you know what I mean? But that's where we filmed it. And there's a very distinctive block of flats right next to where our cinema was built. And that's where I live. Yes, that's who I am.
The set in the flat.
Oh, amazing.
It was absolutely incredible. I loved it.
Amazing. And Easter eggs, which my mum didn't realise when she came to see it in Toronto, is that all the family photos that Delia has are actually my family photos. They're real. So they are my grandparents, etc. And I think there might even be one of me as a baby. Yeah, my brother, I know. So watching the film, my mother was like, wait, what? And kind of moved on. I know, I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, yeah. Yes, that is your mother. Sorry, are you okay? I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
I love that. That's an amazing attention to detail. What a brilliant back that is.
Excellent.
And working with Michael, what was that like?
Michael's delicious. And I think the thing with Michael is that when he's not in character, he's just him. He's so dynamic and dedicated. How old is he? I think he's like 23 or something. I don't know. Sorry, Michael, if I got that wrong. Correct me. People write in. He's not. But he's like super young. And I at that age, I wouldn't have had his focus or understanding of the responsibility, I suppose, that he had to tell that story and to play that character. I adore him and I'm extremely impressed. Extremely.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's been amazing in everything he's done. Just
Yes.
like stand out,
Right?
amazing in everything. Yeah.
Yes.
I know. And like from the opening gate, I suppose that's a phrase, is it?
Yes.
From like the moment he started acting, he's been
Yeah.
blow you away type.
There's
It's
a kind of
amazing.
honesty, I think. You know, I don't know if, I don't know, I'm starting to sound really old. Maybe it's his generation. I don't, I know, there's a sincerity, I think, to what he does. I remember we went out for dinner one night after work, and the chefs were like really excited. There was a real buzz. And the waiter said, listen, when you're done, I'm sorry, do you mind if we get pictures taken with you? Because they were all massive fans of
Top Boy.
Top Boy. So all these chefs came out, you know, like tattooed and stuff. They were all like blanked. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that pic. Right in the camera. So, oh, you too? Okay, give me the camera. It was great.
It.
They were very excited.
It was great.
Yeah.
I'm running out of time, but there was one question I definitely wanted to ask you about. Was about how Sam consulted both with you and Michael over the race and the racism storylines.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say consulted as such because it's Sam Mendes. So he has some pretty good ideas. But I think what it was is that he just gave us the freedom to be open about our responses to it. And if we felt that we were being true, do you know what I mean? Truthful and authentic. So, you know, we had this relationship. So there are some things that I would say, you know, there's some things that, you know, my son and I would be talking and I would mention, you know, in a West Indian household, if a son said this, then I would, it's fine if the son says this, but then my reaction might be more like this. Do you know what I mean? And so that helped him shift things so that the focus wasn't taken off the story of the film and then moving on to this dynamic of a West Indian household, which is drama in itself. You know, so yeah, we could just be honest and have that dialogue and then let the story, so he could still tell the story that he wanted to tell, but then bring authenticity to it.
I totally get it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I totally get it. Yeah, it completely makes sense. It's really interesting as well that he did that, I think, because I think some other people wouldn't be that open to...
Yeah, but, you know, Sam as well is of West Indian descent. And, you know, when it says, I think it's his granddad, I want to say. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, right in. But is from Trinidad. So, you know, Sam does like a really good Trinidadian accent. It's quite unnerving. You kind of think you're about to be told off by your uncle, then you realise it's Sam. I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I'm talking to him at the premiere, so I'll be getting him to do that impression.
Exactly,
yeah,
yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That was great. It was
Yeah.
weird enough for me because my name's Hilary, having everyone saying Hilary all the way through the film. And I don't think
that's
I've ever had that
wild.
before.
Oh my God.